Good evening. Welcome to the December 5th, 2013 Board of Selectmen meeting. Sorry for the delay. We were involved in a meeting over at the police station. We got out without handcuffs, so we're all happy. So we'll start as usual with David reading the draft agenda here. Please, David.
Yep. First, we're going to vote to approve or amend the agenda and add topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance, and have public comment. And then the consideration of appointment of Karen Jewell to the Local Emergency Planning Committee. And then I have an amendment to remove, or recommended agenda amendment to remove the Sherborn Inn New Year's Eve extension of hours to make that later with their full license approval, which is scheduled for the 19th.
Right. Okay, well, keep going, and then we'll get back to that.
And then 2 grants to accept, officially accept, and then FY15 review of notices of intent. We'll give you an update on where we're at with that.
Great.
And then talk about future meetings, see if there are any selectmen reports, approval of the warrant, and set the next meeting, and then go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation, Cannon et al. V. Town of Sherborn Zoning Board of Appeals et al. And Cannon et al. V. Town of Sherborn Planning Board et al. And to consider the lease or value of real property.
Okay, that's a mouthful. You've had a recommendation, but I'd like to keep that agenda item on here just to touch base on, see where we go from there.
Okay.
Not to dispute what you're thinking. I understand where you're going with that. And then, so if there are any other amendments to the agenda, gentlemen?
Just to wish everybody, I hope that everybody had a great Thanksgiving.
Second.
All in favor? All right. In Hanukkah, I think a lot of people are in the middle of that, so likewise, right? Okay, so I'll take a motion to accept the agenda as read.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Great. That puts us to public comment. If there's any public comment? Yes, please.
Susan Tyler, I have one is a question and one is a comment. My voice is loud.
Okay, go
How's
for
that?
it. Go for it.
All right, my first comment is, like I had brought forward to the Board of Selectmen prior to Thanksgiving. The holidays are coming up, Christmas and New Year's. Last night the Dover Board of Selectmen voted for the hours for both on the Tuesdays, the day before Christmas, to close the town offices at noontime, and for New Year's Eve to close it at 3 o'clock. I'd like to see if the Board of Selectmen will consider that at the next meeting, doing something for the employees regarding the Christmas and New Year's holiday. That's my comment. My question is, I'm seeing it more and more on different agendas where they write down add topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Is there a full decision on this and how it works? And I only bring it up because I know that another committee has just put on a topic for discussion without the 48 hours. So was there something that has been sent to all the boards and committees? And what's the proper procedure for doing this? Because if it's not an emergency, how do you handle it?
Well, I'll just speak from my layman's terms. This is practice that has been here since I've been going on. And it really relates to things, since we post 48 hours in advance, to the extent something does come up, and that's typically when we have amendments to the agenda, something has come up that we didn't anticipate. And anticipation by the chair is a key factor there. So, for example, I would not be able to add, let's talk about the budget tonight on such and such. That's right. So that's something I could have, that's something I would have anticipated or should have been able to anticipate if I wanted it on the agenda, okay? But Paul might have a better legal perspective because I can't speak to the other committees.
On the issue of the hours, that's a town administrator function, and we all here are trying to not micromanage the town administrator, so the Board of Selectmen leave it to the town administrator to determine things like employee hours and what hours to open and what hours to close. So on that issue, we are doing our best to respect and to empower the town administrator. So those kinds of things should go to him. With regard to the open meeting law issue, That comes from an advisory from the Attorney General's office, asking all boards to do that. So that got added not because Peter or the prior chair came up with this great idea. It came right out of the advice from the Attorney General.
My question is that a written advisory?
Yes.
And is that something that could be forwarded to all the boards and committees?
I think
Because again, I'm seeing it creep up, and if something's been posted, a topic, within 48 hours, if the posted agenda at the town clerk's office was changed within 48 hours, and if it's not an emergency,
I think
where's
if
the
you-
true public notice on that?
All those questions are answered on the Attorney General's website. There's a whole section under the open meeting law, and they have a frequently asked questions guideline, and in there it says, what do you do with the subject that comes up after the 48 hours, and it lays it all out.
There's a booklet that the town clerk distributed that we all have.
Yeah, the open meeting law handbook? Yes.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily draw on this, and not anticipated by the chair.
Well, in that booklet, it does provide for something to be added after that 48-hour deadline. And it's really at the discretion of the chair and whether it's something that could have been reasonably anticipated.
Thank
Right,
you.
okay. Yes, sir, Elliot?
Yeah, on this 48-hour thing, the Board of Selectmen have to vote to accept that as a subject to be discussed.
An amendment to the agenda, we have to vote to approve an agenda as amended. That's
Right,
correct.
Right.
Yes, thank you. So you pay attention, Elliot, I know that.
I've been around for a while.
Yeah, I guess so. That's great. Okay. Any
This
other-
isn't intelligence, it's just experience.
There you go.
I think I saw a picture of you being chased by a dinosaur. Is that an accurate one?
Let's move on to the next item.
All right, what else? Any other public comment? Okay, that puts us on to consideration of appointment, David, and
The board had already made the appointments to the local emergency planning committee.
Yep.
And the council on aging director, who is usually consulted in any emergency situation, and consults with public safety people. So she requested if she could be added to that committee. I think in the past she probably attended on her own volition, but
and we have room on the committee for her to be a member, is that correct?
yeah, I mean, it's a
So moved.
it's an ongoing.
Second. Great. All in, any other discussion? All
For
in
a
favor?
2-year term expiring June 15th.
Very good. All in favor, great. Thank you.
Just what is this committee, basically?
The local emergency planning committee would probably best be explained by the local emergency management director, is what you sometimes function as, right?
I am.
Okay, the new fire chief becomes like the emergency management director. If you'd like to speak to it.
Simply put, it's a group of variety of department heads, both fire, police, council on aging, conjunction to town hall, the selectman's office, that we review the emergency plan for the town, what each public health, what each department's doing on their own that can contribute to the town's emergency plan, and then preparations for if we had to open an emergency operations center. Simply put.
Great. That's great. Simple is better.
Sometimes you'll see it referred to, people will ask, has the town implemented an EOC if a hurricane's coming or something?
Sure.
And that's that Emergency Operations Command Center.
Right. So they're the ones who keep us safe when the storms are coming as well. But
Yeah, we tie it all
tie
together.
it all together, right.
We approved it.
All right, great. We have the request of the Sherborn Inn to extend normal business hours on New Year's Eve. And I know, David, you were suggesting, because I'd asked the question, how do we extend their hours if they don't have a permit that starts in 2014? And it turns out we review the licenses, alcoholic license, alcoholic beverages licenses on our December 19th meeting.
Well,
And so we couldn't extend their hours into a time period for which they won't have a license or don't have a license yet. So that's the challenge, is what I see. But why I want to try to take some action if we can, okay, is because I'm sure the Sherborn Inn would like to, has planning to deal with. They have menus to create. They have food, alcohol to purchase and whatnot. So to the extent we can do something that's subject to ensuring that they get the adequate 2014 license on December 19th, that's where I'd like to see us go.
Okay.
So there, I've said my
Okay.
piece.
Well, I was going to say, we didn't have, we didn't get a council opinion on that, but that you would have to weigh, if their alcohol license was revoked on the 19th, then
This would become moot.
this would become moot because it's to extend their normal business hours, which would no longer
Right,
exist
right.
for the sale of alcohol.
So that's why I say I'd like to see us do a license extension, if we're in favor of that, that's subject to having a proper license for alcoholic beverages in 2014.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's good.
Anybody's wants to have any discussion, make a motion?
But I'm wondering whose responsibility is it to come in and renew their license for next year?
Theirs.
The inn has to come in and.
So it's not really our emergency, it's their emergency, they just didn't come in earlier and
Right,
request a renewal?
I believe it's just like a hearing. Don't we advertise the liquor
We
license?
do it
renewal?
every year. They have an application that's sent out to them that they fill out when they come in.
So how have they handled this in the past? Has this been what's been done other years? Where it's voted a week ahead of time to?
We've always done it, and part of it is that they need to have assurances so they can do the planning for the event.
I guess what I'm suggesting, Paul, is wouldn't it be better if we either, when we approve the license this year, extend it to midnight and/or invite them to come in on December 1st or however much time they need to plan ahead?
But don't we typically, out of your office, engage with the people that need to renew their licenses?
He's the one that does the licenses.
And so there's some proactive activity by the
Yeah, but it
part of
shouldn't-
our office.
Right, but this is a liquor license for a business. They should be, astute enough to come in when their license is about to expire. If they need additional time for their planning purposes, it should be initiated by them. I don't think it's our job to initiate their renewal for them. They should renew their permit when it's going to expire.
Yeah.
It's not like we have a lot of liquor licenses. I think they know
Right.
if they're coming in.
There's
That
five.
said, I don't anticipate that they're not going to get
Five.
renewed.
5 liquor licenses.
Yeah.
And sometimes it helps to be business friendly. Helps
It's
them
not, I'm
along.
not being business unfriendly, Paul. I'm just saying we're being asked to do something that I think is pretty out of the ordinary, which is to grant an approval before we have a hearing.
I didn't
So-
follow that, but that's, if you don't want to.
Well, isn't that what we're
That's
being
what we're
asked to do?
doing, but I'm suggesting that we do it subject to getting the license for 2014 on December 19th.
So you're putting a contingency on the approval of this,
That's right.
the extension
Just
of
to
hours.
facilitate their
So
planning
moved.
purposes.
So moved. Approve it subject to their renewing the license.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, second.
And under discussion, I would say under the general laws, the renewal is automatic. We'd have to have a hearing to revoke in order to not give them the license. And because of the particular statutes that relate to liquor licenses, the license is relatively permanent. So I'm comfortable with
Yeah.
the motion.
Elliot, you have your hand raised before we take a vote.
Yeah, I'm opposed to this. I'll go over here.
Okay, sure.
I've been complaining about the Sherborn Inn lights shining on my house. I told them 30 years ago, plus or minus, before they opened the damn place, don't shine lights on my house. Oh no, we'll put up,
Elliot, we're talking about a liquor license.
I'm telling you why I'm opposed to any licenses or anything to the Sherborn Inn. And what I'm saying is, I told them before they opened the place, don't shine lights on my house. They've been shining lights on my house for 30 years. And I'm just saying, put some shades in front of your lights so they don't glare over. They will not do it. So until they will respect my rights, I am opposed to anything thing at the Sherborn Inn. I want the place shut down until they have a discussion with me, and I agree that they have no longer glaring lights in my face. Also, I believe they had an illegal party over there. They've had 2 of them now. And until I get an assurance that there'll be no more business association
The
beer
brew fest.
bashes,
Yeah.
I am opposed to any licenses or special permits granted to the Sherborn Inn.
Okay, thank you, Elliot. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, abstained?
Abstained.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to some acceptance of grants. David, you want to lead the charge, introduce our guests and so forth? What
Yeah,
we've
I
got
will,
going here?
well, I'll introduce Fire Chief Tim Morrissey, and this is a donation from the trustees of the Mutual One Charitable Foundation. I believe you have it with you, right? Is that,
It's an example.
yeah, you want to
Sure.
Take the
go over and talk?
microphone, and who, do we have someone here? We have a guest here. Let's go.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'll be the giant check here.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I've never seen that. Great. I want to get my hands on that. Wow. We're gonna,
That won't go in the ATM.
look at that.
Wow.
Stand.
My name is Rachel Stewart. I'm the Administrative Director of the Charitable Foundation for Mutual One Bank. And it is my pleasure to present this check to the town of Sherborn. We have also given you $10,000 for another reason a couple of years ago. I just wanted to remind you
Oh.
of that. The electronic sign for the police
Oh,
department.
great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And today, we are giving you a check for $3,200 to purchase 2 defibrillators for the town.
That's outstanding.
And then this is an example of the
Example.
2 that we'll be purchasing with the donation from
It's fantastic.
one bank.
And how will we, where will we have those, and how will those benefit us? Because
Well, when I was hired, I did an inventory of AEDs that we had, and unfortunately, we had 4 of them that had maxed out their age of about 10 years, and no longer could we get
Parts
pieces
and
and parts
so
for them.
forth,
So
yeah.
we were down actually 4. Was able to get a couple that did just need batteries put back into service. So this is going to get us back up to our complement of AEDs for the community, including the one that we use in the wintertime from Farm Pond. So it's more AEDs that we have in the community throughout the police and the fire department, the better we can get one to somebody who needs one in a timely manner.
And so this is a charitable foundation of Mutual One Bank, formerly Framingham Cooperative Bank.
Framingham
That's outstanding.
Cooperative Bank merged with Natick Federal.
Okay.
So we are now we weren't bought out by somebody else. We
You
just
merged,
changed
you
our
got
name.
larger and a better.
We are still the little bank.
There you go. Well, that's delightful.
I'd like to move that the town of Sherborn accept the donation with gratitude, and that it be used for the purposes for which it was given to us.
I second that.
Oh.
All right.
Thank
Any
you very
discussion?
much.
All those in favor? Aye. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's great.
I have a picture.
Thank you.
Do you mind taking a picture? I have a camera.
Yeah, I got
I
it.
already took one.
Social media,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
I don't think that'll
Can I
fit in
just
the
touch that?
ATM
I just
machine.
want to touch that.
You just
check.
want to touch the
I
big
just wanna
check.
hold that check.
Don't smear it, Peter.
Don't smear it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll give the picture any time. You make me look not so good.
Gotta make sure it doesn't glare.
Oh, put the microphone there. Okay.
Save the defibrillator.
Yeah. That's great.
Chair didn't know.
This is the fun part about being a selectman, is when people do things like this. That
Try it again, you can. Wink.
Try not to.
I don't have my glasses on.
It's okay.
You're going in the general direction.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
So
Really
welcome.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank
that's
you.
terrific.
Diane, do you
lucky.
mind taking one?
Diane, just the two of
Yeah,
us,
go ahead,
me
Diane.
and her, yeah. That way, get all the publicity out of it you can.
That's right.
That's great. Thrilling. Great shot.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Marvelous. Good job.
You're so welcome.
We should maybe keep a defibrillator at the selectmen's meetings in case.
Right around the corner in the case.
In case the meetings
Remember
get
that.
heated.
Especially when we get into the budgets. Oh, jeez. All right, good. So now we move on to the
Police.
Maya.
If I could ask Sergeant Headstone to the stand.
Ah, excellent.
This is for receipt every year. Maya, Massachusetts interlocal insurance agency, who holds all our policies, offers a grant. We applied for a number of them, and I think they max out at 5,000 or something. And I believe, did you go to Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Okay, all right. You can tell the rest of us.
So we were, on behalf of Chief Thompson, we were awarded the grant from Maya for, I believe it was approximately $5,000, and with that, an enclosed trailer has been purchased, so that'll allow us to be able to deploy barricades, road signs. Chief Thompson is planning on putting up some sort of scene lighting in terms of events. We'll be able to better respond and maybe have almost a little command post, if you will, for those types of situations. And again, just primarily to be able to distribute our barriers if there's a road closure, if there's an emergency, if the fire department can't get there, but for functions, parades, etc. So that's how we plan on primarily using it.
And you guys drove down to Pennsylvania Monday to pick it up and
Took a
bring
little road
it
trip,
back.
yes,
Little road trip,
yes.
huh?
So that was a lots of interesting sights in western New York and Pennsylvania, and we got down there and picked it up and came right back. And it's a great trailer. It's a 6x12 enclosed trailer. It's aluminum. It looks great. It's a perfect size for us. It's going to hopefully fit our needs well, and we look forward to deploying it. So we want to thank Maya very much for their generous donation.
That's great. So I'll take a motion to accept that.
Motion to accept that grant?
Second. Great. All in favor? That's great.
I don't
Good
have a
job.
trailer or a check for you to take a picture with. The
But
trailer's
you
stuck
get
on the
parked over
elevator,
there
so
in
it
the
should be a
parking
few
lot?
days.
You
Excellent.
could have Peter go over and give you a hug.
Yeah, there you go.
Lock him in the trailer.
Now you're talking.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Thank you, Luke. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for driving down there and spending all that time with the chief. He can be a challenge.
That was about a $1,500 savings by having them go
By them go and
instead
pick it
of
up.
Oh, no kidding.
a delivery instead of a delivery on the trailer.
Yeah. That's terrific.
Yeah.
It's worth $1,500 not to have to go to Pennsylvania, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. 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 So now we're just a little brief update on the NOIs, notices of intent on warrant articles and so forth, right?
It says government task force.
Well, we added that in because we could just report, we spent an hour before this meeting with the folks that are addressing the last year's amended Article 23 to look at structure of government here. It's a task force. It was appointed by the moderator. It's got a great group of folks on that group, and there's 3 of them here tonight. Four. Oh, there he is, 4 over there. And we were over there just getting a little conversation back and forth at the police station with that group this evening. So that's why we added it specifically just to talk about that. But otherwise, today was our deadline for NOIs,
Yep,
correct?
and we had 3 come in from the plating board today, so we are at 34, about 37.
Uh-huh.
37 notices of intent that have been filed.
Yep.
So we'll be cataloging those, and I think a few of them,
32 in this list.
well,
We updated it since I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a new list.
have continually come
Planning
in.
board's not on here yet either, because they came in too late last night.
Okay. And we have nothing from the regional schools at this point for an NOI. Doesn't mean they don't, the NOI process, just to be clear, was really to get a good sense of what folks were thinking of doing for warrant articles. Doesn't mean that a warrant article can't be brought forward.
Right, yeah, it's just a notice of intent, and I don't think we received one for regional school
No,
capital.
no.
But,
But can I ask you about, there's one here, I can see, you know, Board of Selectmen, Government Study Committee, Planning Board, all of those things, but down here you have Pulte Homes. Was that a citizen article?
That's what it will end up being. I mean, or the Board of Selectmen could decide on their own to place their article on the warrant and either support or not support. But the Board of Selectmen can add an article to the warrant without supporting it.
So the planning board is not bringing that
The
forward.
planning board discussed it and specifically decided that they were not going to bring that article forward, that it would be done by Pulte Homes.
And so you have an NOI from Pulte that came in, is that correct?
Yeah.
folks?
Property owner can bring forward a warrant article on zoning without the 10 citizens,
Okay.
or however many citizens.
But they're not the owner.
Well, they may be able to get the owner. Presumably, if the owner wants that development, maybe they'll be the sponsor.
Well, we're not yet deliberating on any of these.
No.
Nor how we wind up. This is
Right.
just a punch list of
But
what's
I
in the
do know that
hopper.
it's not going to be the planning.
It's not going to be the planning board, is what you're saying.
So
Okay.
I figure that they will figure out.
So that may be something that that's something that we either decide that we let the process go as the owner brings it forward, or somehow we're involved in it.
They have a request to come in and speak with the board.
Okay.
So in the night that you review that.
Okay. They would
that
present.
Notice of
and-
intent, we'll have them here
All right.
to talk about it, and then you would decide.
Yep. And we,
Right.
the practice, or at least my perception of the practice and my comfort level is that, of our warrant articles, is that last year we went through the process of putting them on the warrant prior to us actually deciding. We did take a vote on almost all, I think all of the warrant articles last year, whether we supported them or not. But that didn't necessarily take place before we authorized articles to be on the warrant itself.
Well, I'm uncomfortable with the notion that a corporation, out-of-town corporation, should get the same courtesy that we would give a citizen. It'd be
Well, we're
different.
not deliberating, Paul. I
Yeah,
don't see
we're
how
not
we can
deliberating.
deliberate whether we're going
Yeah.
to support this article or
I
not.
don't have a question supporting it. Talking about the issue of whether the board should be sponsoring.
Well, that's the
debating.
deliberation we're not having
Yeah.
yet. Yeah, no, so I'm with you. That's a big question, obviously. But the point I'm trying to say is that the process of these warrant articles, many we will put on the warrant, doesn't necessarily mean we support them. And we subsequently may do an evaluation of whether we support them or not.
Right.
So at least that's the way I envision this process, not just Pulte, or it's all of them. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of them here. We have NOIs. We'll be scheduling future meetings with the proponents of these various items and so forth.
Yeah, I want to whittle this down a little bit,
Yeah.
and then bring it in, then we can talk about each one.
Yeah, and the other thing is to think logistically, to limit the duplication of effort that advisory may be doing at
Right,
the same
right.
time.
Yeah.
So that's good you're looking at it that way. All right, well, that's really all, was just to get a brief update of what's there. That's good for us to know what we're in for. Paul, do you have any other comments or thoughts?
Well, yeah, a couple of thoughts. I mean, as I read it, some of the articles look like they are duplicative, number one. Number two, some of the articles may be combined or combinable. Item 3 would be that I think we could route these to different places where we think different committees, different boards that maybe should take a look at them if the boards are willing to do so. But I think that would help the process a
So
lot.
why don't we set as an upcoming agenda item how we deal with
Yeah,
these?
like I
All
said,
right.
I want to whittle
Whittle
this
them out.
down and then bring something to you, and then you can amend that, and that would be your final checklist of what,
Gotcha.
the things that you want brought in to
Okay.
talk about, and the things that you expect to be
So does
placing on the
that
warrant.
makes sense for you, Paul? Because
Sure, I can do it now, I can do it later, anytime, whatever you want.
I think
see
I'd
how
rather
we
do
do
it
it now.
later, because we don't, what's that?
I said, I don't see how we do it now,
Yeah.
given
We
the
haven't really
agenda item
studied
is, and we
these.
haven't.
Yeah, I'd rather us prepare for the evening than we do it, okay?
Mhm.
All right. Good, any other thoughts on this at this stage? Okay, it's more of a heads-up process. Okay, David, next up.
Just on a future meeting on December 19th, we were going to have Roger Demler, the water commissioner, come in. He was going to talk about, there was a water line proposal at one point for the downtown district here. And I met with the Sherborn Business Association about their interest in that, and met with the original consultant that had done the engineering plans before. So it was kicked around on whether they would try to bring something forward to request money to update all those materials and get that rolling again. I don't think it's going to be done for this town meeting.
And you don't have an NOI for that at this stage?
No.
right?
We may.
Maybe there's something in there.
I had mentioned
to-
a placeholder. One of
Okay.
them might be in there.
Okay.
But he will speak to that. Speak about that night.
Great. You know, one of the other things, David, I just want to remind to be sure we get back to the BOSTA goals and objectives conversation. And prior to that, just make sure you get input from us. You got to pester us a bit to be sure we get you input on the materials you gave us, as well as any additional thoughts before that meeting. So give us
That draft email and some draft links will be out to you hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow.
Oh, good.
So,
Good. And so then you can think about what the right meeting timing will be for
Right.
that to give.
yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
good, because that's important. Great. I don't know that we have anything else here, Selectmen's reports. We got no minutes. I guess there's a warrant. I haven't had a,
Oh, sorry. This is the off week.
yeah, so it's a small week, so it's a warrant for $31,564.51.
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay, any discussion? It's all in favor? Great.
Regarding the biweekly issue,
Yep,
I did meet with the
same
the
in
union president today, and it was promising.
Oh, good. So as part of that, this includes the fire department, we certainly want to move that into the right cycle.
Yeah.
David, last week's warrant, there were a number of little technical issues that were shortcomings on certain approvals and signatures and so forth. I mean, how's that handled? I mean, those are the kind of things that, you can talk with the group so we don't get that the next time, that they're able to sign the.
Talking about the lack of signatures?
The lack of signatures and people signing their own expense approvals and things like that.
Nobody should be signing their own expense reimbursement.
Yeah, there was at least one of those, which I pointed out.
Okay. And ideally, the signatures have to be on there before it goes to a warrant.
Well, before it goes to the accountant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which is, and I guess that's why I'm asking the question, where does that get
right.
checked so that we don't get to the point where we're being asked to review
Right.
and sign a warrant that doesn't have the proper signatures?
Right. In a normal, lots of places would use a requisition and purchase order system where the requisition would be in the system and the
you'd have
requisition
the
would get
signature already.
approved, and then it could appear on a warrant.
Yeah.
So here it's kind of all done in one step. It's all I'll put forward as one.
But given the
accounts payable.
structure we have, to Mike's point, we got to find a way to eliminate having incomplete signatures.
Yeah.
For us to sign off on.
It's not efficient, and it's not efficient for us, it's not efficient for you, and it's not efficient for
To
them.
keep noting when there's something.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed some today for a signature on this that we called an employee, a director back in to sign it that
Good.
wasn't,
Yeah, because we've worked hard to try to be available to do what needs to be done to review and sign these so that payroll can go out in a timely manner, you know, disbursements can go out in a timely manner. So it would be helpful if the folks that want to get the pay and the
Right.
disbursement.
I mean, most organizations, I don't
Get
think
ahead
the
of the
accountant
game.
would approve the payroll or the requisition unless there was a signature. Here, it gets approved at the accountant level,
Right.
sent down to you. Sometimes you've reviewed it before we review it, sometimes you haven't reviewed it
Right.
before we review it, but we're
yeah.
under the gun to sign it at a meeting so the
Right.
payroll can go out. I mean, that's really something that, it shouldn't even get past the accountant without a signature.
Right.
There should be a check system where
Right.
if it comes to the account, it doesn't have a signature, it gets rejected and it goes on the next warrant, or they correct it before the warrant gets
Right.
approved.
So that's a simple thing for me to communicate is that it's,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
I mean,
it,
you came
yeah.
in on Sunday night, I think, at 10 o'clock, you were signing off on that.
Yeah.
I was in Monday morning signing off on the darn thing.
yeah. So I'll make sure that that's
Paul had
clear.
to sign it Monday morning as well, so. Great. So I see no further business other than executive session, but before we go there, because in our executive session, we either will come back to sign something. The question is whether we can address signing that before we even go to executive session. And it really is a function of whether you're comfortable on that assignment issue that we're dealing with. If you want to discuss it in executive session or just get it done, sign it. Because otherwise, we're going to go to executive session and come back. We don't have to come back for the TV, but
I think we should go to executive session and come back. I'd like
All
to
right.
have the benefit
That's
of
fine.
counsel on that
that's
issue.
fine. That's fine.
If she came all that way, we might as well at least hear her.
Well, we're going to hear her anyway because we're talking about other stuff. But that being said, I move that the Board of Selectmen enter into an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation where an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the town's litigating position, and the chair so declares pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21, Paragraph 3, with respect to the following cases. Cannon et al. Versus the Town of Sherborn Zoning Board of Appeals et al. Cannon et al. Versus the Town of Sherborn Planning Board et al. I declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6. I need a second and a roll call vote.
Second.
Motion is seconded by Mr. Durensis. Having a second, we'll now have a roll call vote. Mr. Durensis?
Aye.
Mr. Jaimo?
Aye.
And I, Mr. Caruso, vote aye. Having passed by a vote of 3-0, the open session is now recessed, and we'll come back to open session after executive session to either deal with matters or adjourn. But we do not need the camera running for that. So all that being said, I don't have a gavel. We are now in executive session.